Hello and welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We are reaching you live from our studio in Abuja. I am Ifoma Ojenta. Let's see the headlines. President Buhari directs incorporation of NNPC Limited, appoints board. Another Black Sunday in Kaba, Kogi State, as gunmen kill one, abduct two during church service. Hoodlums set ablaze INEC office in Ogu, Enugu State. Plus, Sickle Cell Awareness Month in focus, experts call for skills acquisition and better career choices to reduce burden. And now the news in details. President Muhammadu Buhari is in New York, United States, ahead of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly. This will be the sixth time the president will be physically present to address the largest gathering of the world leaders since coming to power. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrived JFK International Airport, New York, about 4 p.m. Sunday evening local time. On hand to receive him were Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Professor Tijani Bande, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyama, and other senior government officials. President Muhammadu Buhari is scheduled to address the United Nations General Assembly on Friday, the 24th of this month.
We don't have a larger platform, a larger stage than the UN. So the UN is a global stage. When you now play on that stage, you are talking to the whole world. The world listens to you, the world gets your perspective, the world gets to hear your own take on global issues, and then it's also an opportunity to bring your local perspectives to the international stage. That's why every year, except last year due to COVID, the president could not be at the UN physically.
The theme for this year's session is building resilience through hope to recover from COVID-19, rebuild sustainably, respond to the needs of the planet, respect the rights of people, and revitalize the United Nations.
That is what the world needs at a time like this. So the president will talk around that theme, and then he will also talk about things that are typically Nigerian, but which affect the world. For instance, terrorism and the banditry part of it. All that Nigeria is doing to combat terrorism, combat banditry will come up, obviously, at this global stage. And then there are going to be some side meetings on agriculture, on environment, on power. These are key things for Nigeria.
During the visit, the president will partake in several high-level meetings and hold bilateral talks with a number of world leaders and heads of international development organizations. From New York, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari, in his capacity as Minister of Petroleum Resources, has directed the incorporation of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. A statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, indicates that this is in consonance with the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, which requires the Minister of Petroleum Resources to call for the incorporation of the NNPC Limited within 6 months of commencement of the Act in consultation with the Minister of Finance on the nominal shares of the company. The Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Mr. Mele Kolokiari, has therefore been directed to take necessary steps to ensure that the incorporation of the NNPC Limited is consistent with the law. The President has also approved the appointment of the board and management of the NNPC Limited, with Senator Ifeanyi Ararume as chairman of the board, while Mele Kolokiari and Umar I. Ajia are Chief Executive Officer and Chief Financial Officer. Other board members are Dr. Tajuddin Umar, Northeast, Mrs. Lami O. Ahmed, North Central, Malam Muhammad Lawal, North West, Senator Margaret Chuba Okadibo, South East, Barrister Constance Harry Marshall, South South, and Chief Pius Akinyelure, South West. A total of 15 projects spread across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country are to be financed with more than $4 billion from multilateral institutions under the 2018-2021 medium-term external borrowing plan. Ruth Agwele's report gives us the details of the borrowing plan as explained by the presidency.
A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says President Muhammadu Buhari had requested the Senate to approve sovereign loans of $4.054 billion and 710 million euros, as well as grant components of $125 million for the proposed projects. According to the letter by the President, the sovereign loans will be sourced from the World Bank, French Development Agency, China Exim Bank, International Fund for Agricultural Development IFAD, Credit Suisse Group, and Standard Chartered China Export and Credit. The President's request to the Senate listed 15 proposed pipeline projects, the objectives, the implementation period, benefiting states, as well as the implementing ministries, departments, and agencies. A breakdown of the addendum to the proposed pipeline projects for the 2018-2021 medium-term external borrowing plan shows that the World Bank is expected to finance 7 projects, including the $125 million grant for better education services for all. The Global Partnership for Education grant is expected to increase equitable access for out-of-school children and improve literacy in focus states. The grant, which will be implemented by the Federal Ministry of Education and the Universal Basic Education Commission (UBEC), will strengthen accountability for results in basic education in Katsina, Oyo, and Adamawa states. Other projects to be financed by the World Bank are the State Fiscal Transparency, Accountability and Sustainability Program, as well as the Agro-Processing, Productivity, Enhancement and Livelihood Improvement Support Project. The benefiting states for the Agro-Processing Project are Kogi, Kaduna, Kano, Cross River, Enugu and Lagos, with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development as the implementing ministry. The objective is to enhance agricultural productivity of small and medium-scale farmers and improve value addition along priority value chains in the participating states. Similarly, the World Bank is also financing the Nigeria Sustainable Water Supply, Sanitation and Hygiene (WASH) project in Delta, Ekiti, Gombe, Kaduna, Katsina, Imo and Plateau states for the next 5 years. The project, when completed, is expected to improve rural water supply, sanitation and hygiene nationwide towards achieving sustainable development goals for water supply and sanitation by 2030. Under the external borrowing plan, the World Bank supported projects also include Nigeria's COVID-19 preparedness and response project under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Health and Nigeria's Center for Disease Control. No fewer than 29 states are listed as beneficiaries of the Agroclimatic Resilience in Arid Zone Landscape Project, which is expected to reduce natural resource management conflicts in dry and semi-arid ecosystems in the country. The China Exim Bank is expected to finance the construction of the branch line of Apapa Tinkan Island Port under the Lagos-Ibadan Railway Modernization Project. The French Development Agency will finance 2 projects, which include the National Digital Identity Management Project and the Kaduna Bus Rapid Transport Project. The Value Chain Development Program to be financed by IFAD and implemented in Anambra, Benue, Ebonyi, Niger, Ogun, Taraba, Nasarawa, Enugu and Kogi states will empower 100,000 farmers, including over 6,000 and 3,000 processors and traders. The specific project titled Kano Maradi Standard Gauge Rail with a branch to Duse has an implementation period of 30 months and will be implemented by the Federal Ministry of Transport. Credit Suisse will finance major industrialization projects as well as micro, small and medium enterprises schemes to be executed by the Bank of Industry, while Synergio and Standard Chartered Bank will provide funds for the provision of 17 megawatts hybrid solar power infrastructure for the National Assembly complex. Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has advocated a new societal approach in ensuring girl-child education and dealing with the challenges of school dropouts and early marriage in Nigeria. Professor Yemi Osinbajo was one of those at the Malpai Foundation Literacy Day 2021, seeking the mental development of the girl child and literacy for better education in Nigeria. Charles Afar reports.
Malpai Mass Literacy for the Less Privileged of the Almajiris is a foundation birthed by the Almajiri project of the Aisha Atiku Bagudu, wife of the Kebbi State Governor in 2009. It is committed to helping thousands of out-of-school children, particularly girls, giving them a promising future through provision of skills and free education.
We have sent a lot of children to school, which they have graduated. Some of them are even working. Some of them have come back to work with Malpai Foundation.
What the Malpai Foundation Literacy Day 2021 in Abuja is out to achieve is discuss issues of gender imbalance and foster a strong advocacy for girl-child education.
Nigerian girl, where are you? Are you at home or at school? Nigerian girl, where are you? Are you lost? Are you stolen? Are you free or are you enslaved?
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo believes Malpai is on a just and noble cause to develop the minds of the less privileged, saying the development of the girl child provides her the ticket to all human, socio-political and economic rights, and therefore requires conviction and strong will by all to realize.
We owe our people a duty to educate them. In other words, if you educate a woman, she transforms her environment completely. It usually means a longer lifespan for themselves and for their children.
These programs have broadened and given increased access to those who are hitherto without access.
Aisha Atiku Bagudu is confident the foundation will continue to drive out illiteracy in communities and build lives where more vulnerable people will have access to quality education, healthcare, and equal opportunities. In Abuja, Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The news at 10 is coming to you live on NTA News 24. More reports after this break.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms.
Start Times, Channel 101, Freak TV, Channel 703, GSTV, Channel 419, and Port TV, Channel 46.
For more information, log on to our website, www.nta.ng, or join us on our social media handles, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24.
News and more news.
Thanks for staying tuned. The National Judicial Council has recommended 36 judicial officers to their respective state governors for appointment as heads of courts and other judicial officers in Nigeria. Out of the 36 judicial officers, 11 were recommended as heads of courts, 17 judges, 6 cadis, and 2 judges of the Customary Court of Appeal. All recommended candidates are expected to be sworn in after approval by President Muhammadu Buhari and their respective state governors and confirmation by the respective state houses of assembly. Citizens across board have been challenged on participatory democracy using the principles of open government partnership approach and the application of Freedom of Information Act. This was at an event organized by the National Orientation Agency on the need for citizens' adequate engagement in democratic processes at Kwali Area Council of the FCT. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Seated here are some government officials, representatives of community leaders, civil society organizations, and security agencies. Their attention is on citizens' rights to information from public and some private institutions, as well as to participate in government policies and programs executed within their domain.
The Freedom of Information Act is very key because it allows the people to interrogate the process.
I have the right to ask the executive chairman what comes in every month and what they are using it for.
The National Orientation Agency is also urging the stakeholders to take advantage of the Open Government Partnership and the Freedom of Information Act of 2011 to demand transparency and accountability in the budgetary process.
When the people know what is their rights and how they can go about achieving those rights, it makes a whole lot of things easier. Freedom of information is the best law so far to fight corruption.
And now that I have known the law and I know the proper channel and the procedure that I can follow.
We should know what the government was intending to do at the end of the year so that we should have a very good dividend of democracy.
Though the OGP and the FOI Act strengthen good governance and uphold the rule of law, but the Official Secret Act limits citizens from accessing classified information. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And to security matters, as part of efforts to tackle insecurity in Nigeria, the Nigerian Army is expanding its frontiers to fortify the force. Olumide Eguntola reports that this is evident in the activities of the Chief of Army Staff, who was on operational visit to 81 Division of the Nigerian Army.
The operational visit of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yaya, is to familiarize with the operational units and formations of the Nigerian Army in Lagos and environs. His first port of call was the Nigerian Army cantonment in Ekpe, where he inaugurated the Nigerian Army Ordnance School. Lieutenant General Yaya was conducted around the classrooms and the halls, among other units. He also performed the foundation laying of the Nigerian Army Ordnance Sports Complex. In an interaction with the traditional ruler of Ekpe, the Chief of Army Staff advocates a cordial civil-military relationship to combat security challenges, with a promise to the host community that the Nigerian Army will be readily available to assist and support whenever the need arises. The Oloja of Ekpeland, Oba Kamaruddin Animashaun, commended the Nigerian Army for its efforts at tackling security challenges across the country. The traditional ruler promised the community's cooperation in the actualization of the Chief of Army Staff vision. In Lagos, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
Exactly a week after the attack on the correctional center in Kaba, Kogi State, it was another Black Sunday as the Good News section of the Evangelical Church winning all Ekwa Okedayo Kaba in Kogi State was invaded by gunmen. Rotimi Ebo reports that one of the church members was killed while two were abducted.
Members of the church, like other faithful in parts of the community, were in the mood of fellowship, rejoicing in the presence of God. The moment of joy suddenly turned to sorrow as the church came under violent attack.
We were in the church. After the Sunday school period, there is a segment, the first stage of the service, call to worship. Pastor just came up after the praises to do the call to worship. From the main entrance of the church, we saw strange 4 men, 3 with gun, 1 with cutlass. I think 2 of them cover their face. That is all I think we saw. People began to scamper around because they were saying, bend down.
They dragged me like police. After the night started shooting everybody.
One of the members died in the process of attack, while 2 elders of the church were abducted. Some others were severely injured.
When the noise died down and they went away, we discovered that they have gone with 2 of our fathers. And these are the 2 elderlies, the most senior citizen of that church, Elder J.O.T. Oshaduma, former provost, Kogi State College of Education Technical, and Elder T.O. Aboduni, also an elderly person who is a retiree.
The attack, according to stakeholders of the church, was first of its kind in the community.
Well, it's very sympathetic because something like this has never happened in Oku land.
From Okedayo, Kaba, Kogi State, I am Rotimebu, NTA.
And security operatives in Kogi State have killed 11 bandits terrorizing some parts of Kogi local government area of the state. A statement from the state's government, while confirming the feat achieved by the security, said many others were arrested while 3 kidnapped victims were successfully rescued. The statement said the security operatives acting on intelligence nabbed an officer of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps who was alleged to be supplying criminals with weapons, along with his friend, in addition to providing information to undertake their heinous crimes. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. Mohammed Onogu, expressed satisfaction with successes recorded by the security operatives, attributing it to the support of Governor as well as the cooperation of the citizens and synergy among security operatives. He reiterated that government at all levels will continue to make efforts towards sustaining the drive for a peaceful Kogi state by making every nook and cranny of the state unsafe for criminal elements and their sponsors. Meanwhile, security agencies are on the trail of kidnappers who attacked certain individuals in Kaba. The state government said it is in touch with security agencies and that the governor had already given a marching order to security operatives rescue those kidnapped and apprehend the perpetrators. Meanwhile, yet to be identified arsonists have set ablaze office of the Independent National Electoral Commission at Ogu in Ogu local government area of Enugu State. Chinenye Nwoye visited the scene of the incidents.
According to eyewitness accounts, the arsonists got access into the premises through the perimeter fence. An INEC official at the scene said he got the information that the facilities have been gutted by fire in the early hours of this Sunday, and he made contacts to INEC headquarters in the state. The building was set ablaze, resulting in extensive damage to mainly the store section where electoral materials are kept. Fortunately, all movable electoral materials had been evacuated following recent attacks on the offices in the state.
When I was coming, one of Kada man that I passed through this road stopped me on the way. Was asking me, where am I going? I said, I'm going to office. He said, our office is burning. And he brought me. On reaching here, I saw DPO, other boys from this town. They were trying to quench the fire. Then the fire continues.
Well, at the beginning, when I heard about the news, I was very shocked this morning. And the bigger too. Then what I did was to call the secretary of the council about this incident. And when I called him, he told me that they have already heard about it. Coming down to come and see things by himself. And eventually he came alongside with the chairman of the council and saw things by themselves.
In a telephone conversation with the police public relations officer, ASP Daniel Ndukwe, who confirmed the incident, he said the state CID Enugu has commenced investigation to unravel the mystery behind the fire incident. All efforts to reach the state INEC officers to react on the matter proved abortive. In Enugu, Chinenye Nwoye, NTA News.
And away from security, wife of the Vice President, Dolapo Shibajo, has again charged women to not limit themselves to just certain goals, but being special vessels who must at all times intercede for the peace and development of the nation. She was speaking at the 2021 International Women Prayer Conference in Abuja. Serafina Okon Umekwe reports.
The International Women Prayer Conference is an interdenominational session where women stand in the gap for not just families, but the nation. The convener of the conference, Bishop Peter Okonkwo, in her message titled Unlimited God, charged the more than 500 women in attendance to change their mindset with Bible readings from Ephesians 23 verse 26 and Proverbs 23:7.
You cannot achieve anything beyond the limitation of your mind.
The atmosphere and ambience of worship and amazing testimonies were further charged when the Vice President's wife, Dolapo Oshibajo, and the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Tallinn, led in worship.
I never knew you will answer me this way. I never knew you would answer me this way. I never. Today, what I take home, grace releases faith.
We need prayer more than ever before. Every leader is nurtured by a mother. So a woman's place is special in the society.
So every mother should know that you're on this earth for a divine assignment, for your children, and not only your children, but for everyone around you.
Gone back, finding a reason to live. Pay attention to your children.
Has used her to be a blessing to so many women.
The conference climaxed with empowerment of women with sewing and grinding machines, followed by cutting of the 20th anniversary cake of service to God and humanity and musical ministrations. Serafina Okun Umekwe, NTA News.
You're still watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We'll take another break now. When we return, Varsity Dawn lauds NTA on education advancements. Stay with us.